Hello and welcome to another edition of the Power BI Monthly Digest, this for the month of November. My name is Devin Knight.
I'm Matt Peterson.
And we're excited to share with you some of our favorite features that have come out this month. There's quite a few things, some significant usability enhancements, I'd say, right?
Yeah, kind of like not a design overhaul, but a certain section of the desktop where it's going to look a little bit different, but I think you're going to enjoy the updates that they made to it. Quicker details, you don't have to kind of go searching as much for the information that you really want to know about.
Yeah, so it should make life a lot easier for you as you're designing Power BI solutions and working with your data model to certainly understand your data and get, like you said, more info. So what's the first one, Matt? We're going to be looking at some changes with the field list and the model view and things like that?
Yeah, we're going to go into the model view, and when you have all of your tables imported in, we are going to change the design feature of how you're looking at them.
Okay.
And so there are going to be a few settings that you need to do to turn this on, and so we'll walk you through all of that.
Excellent. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Yeah, let's do that. So the first thing we're going to do is let's turn on our preview features for the rest of this demonstration. So we're going to go to File, Options and Settings, Options. And now once we're here, we're going to go to the preview features that were released in the November update. So it's these bottom two down here. We're going to turn on our anomaly detection and our new field list. Once those are on, you're going to have to restart your Power BI desktop program. So we're going to click OK for now. And let's head over to the model view and see what looks different. So once you get here, if this is your first time, you're going to have this little gray header bar up here that's going to ask you if you want to update to the new change. And once you make that change, it's there forever. But again, it's a good change. So let's talk about what we're seeing here. We're seeing a lot of different things that we have not seen before in the model view. First off, I'm seeing color. I'm used to always just seeing that gray and black and white. So let's take a look at the blue color. So this blue, what these color codings are doing is telling you what mode you are in terms of your data model. So if you see that solid blue line right here for this event table, we are in direct query. Now, not only can we figure that out by looking at the color, but when you hover over your table now, look at all the extra information that you're getting. It tells you the storage mode you are in, it's telling you the data source, your server, and the database, because this is a direct query. And not only do we have color, not only do we have a pop-out, but we also have this iconography next to it that's letting us know that we are in direct query mode. So with that, we can also look at the next feature with it is when we see these little dashes through it. This means we are in dual mode. So we are in the import as well as direct query for them. So when you want to see that very good detailed look, you do a hover over your table. It will also tell you if you're an import, when the last time the data was actually refreshed for you in the desktop. That's always a good thing to know.
I noticed too, it looks like there's some changes with how you would hide fields. So in the past, you would right-click on a field or right-click on a table to hide it. Now it looks like when you go to hover above any one of the fields here, that you get the little icon there to just go ahead and hide the field directly this way as well. So make it a little different.
Yeah, because in the past, you'd have to come over to your fields pane. You could do a multi-select, and then in the properties, you can put is hidden. But here you can do it just right within. Also take a look at, because sometimes we would have these tables with tons of columns, and the table themselves would be large. But if we hit this collapse button, notice how much space I can now save. If I'm really just
nice.
if I'm really just interested in terms of how do these tables, what are their relationships? You might go, well, yeah, Matt, take a look. If I want to know the relationships, I don't know that because I've just collapsed the table. Well, don't worry. Power BI figured that out for us before we started this. Come over to your properties pane make sure no table's actually selected. So if you go to your properties pane, one of the first things that you can do is at the very bottom. I said it's the first thing, but it's the bottom option. But you can pin a key to the top of your card. So I'm going to click on yes and watch what happens to these tables over here. So when I pin the key to the top of a card, what we're seeing is, let me expand these out. Look here. The keys are at the top now instead of doing it alphabetically.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, and then the other thing is like I said, well, what if, again, I collapse these? I don't see the keys at all. Well, you have another option to show the key field when the card is collapsed. I click yes. So if you're really just interested in what keys are talking to what, having these features turned on will be very beneficial to you.
Yeah, that's really nice because sometimes you can get a little lost with all the fields that you have. If this way you can collapse it and just look at the relationships and the keys that are based off the relationships, it'll go a long way to helping you debug issues rather quickly.
Yeah, especially if you have a large data model with lots of tables in it. And the last thing that you can put in there for your properties is if you want to show the database in the header. So take a look here. I'm about to turn this on. And now for our direct query over here, we see where our database actually is. So again, you make the modifications as you want. One of the gotchas I kind of thought about this is to get to that properties, you can't have an actual table selected. If I have the product table selected, no longer do I have the option of how I want things to be.
There was also a performance improvement here, right? So about how many tables are displayed and things like that?
Yeah, so if you have a large model, more than like 50 tables, I think 50 is the number. If you have more than 50 tables, you get to pick of which ones you want to view. And instead of trying to show all your tables and hitting performance errors, Power BI will load and let you decide the layouts that you like to work with rather than kind of being overwhelmed with the crazy looking model there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So a lot of really cool stuff in the model view, a new look and feel to it. That tells me we're going to have to do a bunch of re-records and some of the content that we've done.
Yeah, and this is actually the first rollout. The goal is for this release, for I guess the next few months, they're now going to change the field list view in the data view as well as in the report view. So I think they're trying to get a more cohesive to where everything looks the same. Because you also might have been noticing that this is the first time in the fields list on the right where in the query, in the remodeling view that you actually saw the icons if they were measurements, or if they're being auto-summarized and stuff. Before, you'd have to go to the report view and then come back here as well.
Kind of silly you had to do that. So it's a great fix. It's kind of more in solidarity across all the different views that you have there, of course. All right, so the next thing we're going to look at is a feature that's been in preview already, I think. The ability to apply all filters in the filter pane. So we have that filter pane that's on the kind of right-hand side. And you can apply a filter. The way that normally works is when you apply a filter, the results happen immediately. But if you're working with a rather large data set, if you apply a filter change every single time you make a change, that can have some performance problems. So the feature that was released a few months ago was you can make all the filter changes you want, hit apply, and then you'll be able to have them as one change rather than every click be a new query execution back.
Yeah.
So that's been made generally available. You want to remind folks what that looks like?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And actually show you that you have options. Just because it's available does not mean you have to use it. So let's go back to the report view. And if you go to File, we're going to go to Options and Settings. We're going to go to Options. And then where you're going to turn this on, the way that you want to see this is under Current File, Query Reduction. And when you are there for the filters, the old one way was instantly apply your filters. So when you hit something, it automatically did that. Then they had a new update to where they said, we're going to give you a button for every single filter. And after you make that one filter selection, you click that button and then it gets done. So if you had 5 filter selections, you'd have to hit 5 separate buttons. Well, now we have, again, after preview, this add a single apply button to the filter pane. So if we turn this on, which is the one that I like to use personally, so I'm going to turn this on. And what we're going to see now is, boom, it was very quick. We have this apply button that hits down here at the bottom. So as I make my filter changes in here, and I've got a few different ones. So let's put, we'll put clerical for our education. We'll put down our gender. We'll go to female.
And normally, as you'd be doing each of these clicks, you'd be seeing changes on your report happening immediately, right? So that's the way the filter pane normally works. But when you turn on this feature, it's kind of holding back running those separate queries until you hit that apply button.
Exactly, because I've made 3 selections, but nothing over here has changed. Well, now if I click on apply,
boom.
Boom. And same thing within, this is an update to it, the clear button. So if you want to clear out a filter, again, nothing changed over here yet. I have to click apply, and now the clearing out of the filter as well. So you also have functionality. If you're someone that loves to do the design part and you don't like that yellow color for the apply button, if you're on the page, and this is a gotcha, make sure you're on the page and go to the formatting. And then you're going to come down to the filter pane. And then at the very bottom, towards the bottom, this is where you can change your apply color. So if you don't like it being that yellow and you'd rather make it, I always go for that pink salmon color. You know that by now. And I click on Europe. Now I've changed the color. You can
also, an awful choice.
Yeah, awful choice. Exactly. I know, but I can't stop from picking it. Got to keep things the same here. So you can also do this in the themes. So if you like to customize your themes, you can customize the apply button theme within there as well.
Excellent. So yeah, some really cool stuff there. Again, that one going generally available, and some additions to it as it went generally available there as well. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is another feature that's been hanging around for us for a little bit. You have a little bone to pick with it, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
But the drawing of the rectangle. So I want to be able to select data points on visuals. They've now added that capability for maps, right?
They have. So I think every new update, they have put the data rectangle, the lasso effect, whatever you want to call it, to where you can do it on a new visual. I think they are done. I think this is the last one. So let's just see what it takes to look like here.
All right.
So again, I'm going to come down here. We'll go to our new page. We have a map here, and you might be noticing that you see something brand new on your map visuals. This just popped up, and I was like, what's going on here? Well, this is the data rectangle effect. And so what I thought at first was like they were just letting me know that I could do that. However, what they were doing is saying, hey, you can actually click me for a rectangle select and then go and do the selection. So I don't have to hold down that control key that always gets me. For some reason, the control key and me using a mouse never worked properly in the desktop. So I wish I had this option, this toggle switch on all the other charts that you can do the data rectangle select there. So just a really quick feature update.
Nice. Yeah, so a quick little one there. The next one we're going to look at is totally new. Like, I don't think there's been any hint of this one coming out, but it's another data visualization update that works on certain types of visuals. Let's see. It's on bar charts, column charts, line charts, combo charts, scatter charts. But this is a zoom effect that you can have now. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, this is, I never really thought about I would like this visual update to it, but like, let's say you're looking at data over across many years, and you're like, you know what, I just really want to see the years between 2008 and 2010. Well, prior, you would have to put on some kind of slicer and make your date range, 2008 to 2010. Well, what did that also do? Well, unless you turned off edit interactions, all of your other visuals would also do that as well. Well, now we have the capability just to affect one visual within the visual itself without adding this extra slicer.
Nice. Yeah, let's take a look at that.
All right. So we're going to come down here, and I have a line chart right here. And what I'm going to do for it is we are going to come into let me select our line chart itself. We're going to go into the formatting of it because this is off by default. So if you want what they are called zoom sliders. If you want this on, we're going to go off to on, and I'm actually going to zoom out so you can see the change immediately here. We're going to turn the zoom slider to on. So now they're just saying, how do you want to zoom in on your visual? So if I want to go in, like I was saying, between 2006 and I don't know, whatever this might be here, and then I want to see in between a certain range, I'm only looking at that. So you might be saying, like I was saying, I want to see where it looks like I'm around 2000, a little over 2007, etc. Can we get more details with it? You can. If you expand out your zoom sliders, you have some options here. And they're default off it to start with. But if you want slider labels, I'm going to turn this on and watch what happens over here. When I turn this on, we now have two axes. So you're going to keep your original axes, but now you're going to get an axis just for the zoom slider itself. So now I see the original 2005 to 2008, but I'm only looking in from 2006 to 2007. Again, if I do slider tooltips, what is different is now when I drag, I'm actually going to see the value of where I currently am. So that was not there just a second ago. So let me just to reiterate. So if I come over here, I'm sliding to the 9 million mark, now to the 8. But if I turn that tooltip off, this is me just guessing where I'm at. Right. So those are the things that you can do. Again, those are all the zoom sliders are off by default. And then when you turn them on, the labels and the tooltips themselves are turned off as well.
Very cool. Yeah, I can actually picture. I think you gave it a good example earlier where maybe I didn't want to necessarily have multiple visuals, me filtering and it applying to other visuals. This gives me the ability to kind of zoom in on one area of the chart, and then I can still interact with the other parts of my visuals as well.
Yeah, and I was already thinking about this when I'm pinning my visuals to dashboards.
Yeah.
I think this would be a great way to get that little snapshot of it to put that on a specific dashboard.
Yeah, that'd be very cool. The next thing I think is just an item we're going to talk about is some changes to Q&A. So Q&A has been undergoing quite a bit of changes over the last several months. We've been highlighting some of those as we've gone. But tell us about the new change with Q&A for this month.
Yeah, the new change is called partial match. So let's say you have a column that says Microsoft Azure, and you put in Q&A, how many sales do we have for Microsoft? Well, in the past, it wouldn't let you know that because the column was called Microsoft Azure. Right. So we could go in and we could put a synonym in. But now there's this partial match feature. So if I just type in Microsoft, it's going to look As long as there's not a whole bunch of other columns like Microsoft Azure, Microsoft Power Apps, whatever it might be, they can do a partial match for you. So that's the new update there.
Very cool. And then the last thing is actually an update to that analytics section of visuals that hasn't really gotten a lot of love lately, but there's a new section being added for anomaly detection. So how does this one work?
So they have some really smart people that have coded this. That's how it works. But we just get to turn it on. And what Power BI does, once it is turned on, it runs all of its algorithms, and it's going to give you expected values of a min, a max, and what they expect it to be. And if our value is outside of that range, it's going to say, hey, this is an anomaly, something just weird here. But they'll attempt to explain it based on fields that you bring in. So again, really smart people did this. Yeah. I don't know. I'm a math person, but I don't know all the formulas. Not that high level math. And it's a pretty neat feature. Now, the one gotcha though is in order to use it, you have to your line chart, your fields that you use either have to be of data types of date time, or you have to have a date hierarchy.
Okay.
That's the only way that this anomaly detection currently works. You either have to have a date time or a date hierarchy.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's take a look.
Sure. And so for ours, we're gonna put ours in. We made one with a date hierarchy here. So let me click on our visual. We've got a date hierarchy going from year down to day, and we're looking at these sales amounts. So if you want to turn on anomalies, you're going to go to your analytics pane in the visualizations pane. And then you're going to come down here to this feature. And again, this was a preview feature, so you do have to turn it on. And you're going to come over to find anomalies. And you're going to say, yeah, I want to add an anomaly. And now you can change the sensitivity ratio as well. So as you slide that, the anomalies, it'll find more or less based on your settings. And so right now, I'm not seeing any anomalies yet because I'm just at the year level. So let's go down one. And now look at this. We got this gray area. So let me just hover over one of these here. And let's take a look at the tooltip. And it tells us what the current sales amount was, what the expected value. So we are actually over what Power BI, the smart math people, figured out. And they gave us an expected min and expected max. But we're falling within that gray area range, which that means there is no anomaly yet. Let's go down one more level to see if we can actually find one here. There we go. This data point is not within their expected values. So if I come over here, now at this point, if I click on this, I do a right click. So I did a right click, not a left click. That's important. I do a right click, out pops this anomalies pane. And so it's going to give you a reason here. And then it says possible explanations. We couldn't find any significant explanations for this. It says try adding new fields. All right, so let me go do that. So I'm going to say try to explain this. Maybe if I was interested in a certain characteristic or demographic, maybe like gender. So let's see if gender had anything to do with this scenario here. So explain by gender. And nothing yet there, so we're going to come back. And now maybe we'll go like with what's something else. Maybe education affected our cells here. And then we're going to click on apply. Oop, let me get that in there one more time. And now when I click on apply, let's see if they can find anything there. So it's working in the background here, and we might have to actually right click on this one more time.
Yeah, maybe give it a little refresh.
Give it a little refresh. We'll do a right click. Oop, doop. Come on over. There we go.
No,
still no explanation there.
So we might have just picked some fields that didn't necessarily find any correlation with that anomaly, but still, you could, if you did find anomalies, you could potentially, if you had picked a field, there's one. There's one. So this one is saying, hey, they could give a little bit of an explanation, say maybe the males caused this anomaly by a 38. Their prediction is a 38% prediction that the males have caused the anomaly. And as we went down further into day levels, we got to see more anomalies here, which would normally be the case because you're looking at a much more smaller range of data of what could change for you there. And that is a preview feature. Well, very cool. Yeah, you showed how to turn on the preview features in the very beginning, so make sure you take a look at the beginning of the video to get those preview features turned on if you want to play around with the anomaly detection. But that's it for this month. So a lot of good stuff. A lot of things to help your usability that we showed early on. Definitely recommend turning on the new model view capability. I think that was a field list option in the preview section. But we're curious, what's your favorite? So let us know below in the comments. Let us know what's your favorite feature that was released this month. I think there's going to be some really exciting things coming out next month as well. So we're excited to show you some of those as that becomes available. But my name, again, is Devin Knight.
And I'm Matt Peterson.
And thanks for joining us. Take care.